So, why do I walk indoors? Because I walk 10 miles a day. And you can only walk around a neighborhood so many times before people start questioning you and calling the police. In this day and age, there's not enough road and track to be able to effectively get a walk. And people are hyper paranoid, terrible drivers, terrible exhaust, inclement weather conditions, waiting at lights, running out of water. I mean, God, the list could go on. Getting hungry, needing to take a break, and then feeling weird because you want to take a break somewhere where it's a little unorthodox. People are staring at you again, paranoid, playing police. Where you can just stay inside the confines of your space and walk what I've done 1,700 miles doing this, not embellishing. And the miles add up. And you could say you get bored like you do anything, but I'm not. I'm constantly studying. I can charge my phone up. That's a whole nother thing. I can go on the computer, right? I can make a cup of coffee. I can take 2 or 3 hours off and then jump right back in. I can go work out in the other room, right? So that kind of brings me to what I'm doing is you see these people doing these walks. I've been doing this for years. This is what I always did. Every time I would do a video, I'm walking because that's what I do is walk. It's at the cornerstone of fitness. And people start mimicking. Like I would be embarrassed to start doing a walking video because someone else is walking. I'd also be embarrassed for one idiot who doesn't understand a standalone diet to have another idiot on their show, on their space. And you have 2 idiots talking about something that they don't even understand. And then you have a bunch of people who are uninformed and want to dogmatically believe that the answer to everything is doing a sugar diet that is devoid of all nutrients, right? And then you'll realize you're a fruitarian, and then you'll realize you're a sometimes fruitarian. And when you break down all the macronutrients and the metabolic consistency of what is priming and driving this, it's all deficiency. These people are going into deficiency and they're burning up, they're reactively burning up fat stores, but they're not necessarily losing, they're losing nutrients faster than they're losing the fat. And they'll be going through some very hard times. This is what sets you up for metabolic syndrome. The reason that they feel so great and that everybody is joining up and subscribing to these brand new stations, channels that are preaching something they don't even understand, and that the professionals, the experts in nutrition and the nutritional sciences are saying, don't do it. Nobody ever sees the long-term effects. They don't see the metabolic syndrome, the diabetes, all the things that are waiting for them. It may look like the acute response to with your blood sugar is one of a positive nature, but when you go on a truly balanced diet after this, so I'm not bitching at you. I'm giving you the answer. And the answer is that if you're taking in 5,000 calories of rice, let's be honest, you're eating rice, you're eating potatoes, you're eating white bread, right? And then for people who say they're taking in 100 grams of protein per day, you're not on a sugar diet. You're just on a high carbohydrate diet. And guess what you have to focus on then? I'll bet you don't know. I'll bet you don't know. Why would I even want to help you? People just thieve away from channels where people are informed and have tons of experience, and then they copy them, they mimic them, and then like a little chameleon, they go off and act like you sound like a different person every day. The people on these channels literally sound like a different human being every single day. And what's happening is your body needs the fiber. And then you have to start investigating and understanding how the thermogenic effect of food works, how catabolic foods work, and you begin to see that you're back where you were, and that you're going to need some fat, and that it's heavily and highly restricted, and now you're trying to put on muscle, and you're back in the same place because you don't know how to build up muscle tissue. And you want to know where you're back at? You're back at ketosis. When you go to the extreme, when you go through the food pyramid and you come out the other side and you're trying to efficaciously build up muscle at the same time losing fat, keeping your neural hormones balanced, keeping yourself from deficiency, driving your metabolism, staying thermic, right? You see it every time. And you don't ruin that when you go into gluconeogenesis. You can take leave from that and go into the G&G is being driven whether you're on a high carb diet at times, right? Right when you come out of sleep, you're essentially right back in ketosis, even if you're on a high carb diet. Your body has expended and gone through everything. And you learn not to eat high carbohydrates too late at night. You don't need them. If you're eating them all through the day, right? And you better learn about nightshade foods. Those are all carbohydrates. Tomatoes and, right? You better, and also cabbage and kale and eggplant, right? You better learn about some things. Even carrots are really heavy to take in around that time. But you're thinking, oh, you're coming out of this carb depletion. You're going, oh, I found the way. No, you just found another dogma. You never fully invested yourself into ketosis or understanding it. And it's obvious because you didn't have the energy to stay on it. I've been in ketosis for 17 days. You know, I can stay in gluconeogenesis for long periods of time as well. You want to know what the secret is? I'll tell you. And I've said it over and over again. It's beef liver, sardines, and 3 eggs, along with magnesium and along with vitamin C, plus boron. You've got everything you need. And this is how you should stack and build every single dietary nutrition plan. But you don't care about stealing from other people, stealing from other channels. It's just open source, right? It's free. But when you make claim and when you're making money off of something, when you're selling a stupid book and you're completely uneducated and you're just taking from other people's knowledge, there's a crime, a real crime in that, you know? And you could say that's what everyone does. No, that's not what everyone does. In my opinion, and unfortunately, the general process doesn't even treat it this way, but through universal cosmic legality, you have to, for you to stand under, to understand something like the great Jordan Maxwell, right? To stand under a concept, to stand under an idea, you have to have the experience of knowing. You have to have applied knowledge. And then you see how the physics work. You know how it works in real time. You put in, as they say. And then on the other side of things, when you have studied, ardently studied, like I have, and dug into books and trapped yourself into a room without any degrees, without any valor, without anybody clapping, right? You learned. I learned. And I learned the process, and I saw how it works, and I applied it to myself. And it was at a time when nobody knew anything, right? And it's oftentimes taking from people who have experience. Now, are you going to try it, or are you just going to talk about it and tout it and fill it up so that it seems like you're informed and people just like you because you're conformist? And they are too. And that's what YouTube and all these social spaces are filled with. Conformists, chameleons. And it's happening over and over again. And it's thinning out the pot, right? It's thinning out the pot. So since I don't want to sit down, I'm going to turn this off because I want to keep walking and I only have so much energy.